Big snowstorm coming in this afternoon into tomorrow all day, and they're calling 12 to 24 inches depending on what news channel we look at. So I figured I'd bust out the tried and true most accurate way of determining how much snow we got. Now I'm going to plan on coming out here roughly every hour. I'm going to get some sleep, but after every hour I am going to try and come out and see how much snow we've gotten. There has been a little bit that's fallen, but not even a quarter of an inch, half an inch or so. It's not going to affect how much. This is going to determine what we got this storm. Stay with us as we figure out how bad the storm actually was. All right, so here we are after the first hour or so of snowfall. If you could measure a can in inches, maybe at about a half an inch. But other than that, you're up onto the fattest part of the can. You're past the bottom. Not only is it snowing out, but it is a little chilly. And I think I've got something stuck to my face. You can see this little patch of trees here in the woods behind the house. I want to take down at some point all the way down to the ground. That way I can drive my truck back here in the woods and load up with trees, other trees that I have to take down. Here we are back, maybe 2.5 hours since the storm started, and it is drifting a little bit on the back of the can, a little bit more on the back than there is on the front. So on the back we've got close to 3/5 of a can, and on the front just over 2/5 of a can. I say that to help everybody understand the unit of measure here. One can would be roughly 5 inches to everyone else. And I'll have the metric conversion on the screen as well. But like I said, about 3/5 of a can and then 2/5 of a can. So if we averaged out to about half a can, we're, what is it everybody else says, 2.5 inches of snow so far after 2.5 hours. They are saying, depending on the news outlet again, that we could see upwards of 3/5 of a can per hour, about 3 inches an hour. Anyways, we'll see what the next hour or so has to show for snowfall. We could be at a full can by that point. Closing in on hour 4 of the storm here, and as you can see, we're just about 1 can deep of snow. Again, 1 can is going to equate to roughly 5 inches for everyone else out there. At this rate, 4 hours per can, we should see all of this done hour 16. Again, gonna be back in about an hour. We'll see how deep we are. We'll see if we're up into can number 2. All right, here we are, hour 5, and we have surpassed 1 can on the back side here. Again, it is drifting just a little bit, and on the front side, we're just at the top of the can where it necks into the top. It is blowing a little bit, so it could be blowing away. We're almost 6 hours into the storm by the next check-in, and we'll see where we're at. 6-hour update here. Doesn't look too different than the last time we checked in, but I do think that is because it's drifting pretty good. When I came out of the house, there was 3 or 4 inches of snow right on the front little porch, and that's after I shoveled it off last time going in, and it's just kind of drifting around. I would say if there was no drifting, we'd easily be up into the lower half of the second can here, but we'll see. If it doesn't look like much change by the next hour, I might just not do anything for that update. But other than that, we'll definitely be checking back in the morning. And in the morning, I am expecting to see all the way up to the top of the 4th can. Here we are, morning after the storm, and the drift that was coming across this way really wasn't our friend. I think where this was right at the edge of a wall, that drift had just brought all the snow down, because we're still not even showing 2 full cans here where I took measurement. But there's plenty of other places on the property where we are at least 3 cans, sometimes well over 4. For instance, in the driveway, we are right at 3 cans high. Right by the camper, it's just under 3 full cans. And here on the back deck, we've got 4 full cans of snow, and behind it, it is even deeper. I do think that is just because of how it drifted. If you look across the entire deck, it's shallow over there, deep in the corner, and it's just due to how the snow drifted into this portion of the house. We are supposed to be getting some snow a little bit later this afternoon, maybe 1, 2 o'clock, and continue through midnight. And I'm going to try and leave some places undisturbed so that we can get a further count of how much snow we got. was having some battery issues earlier while I was making some videos snow blowing, but like you've seen, I take the snow up here by the house and I usually get it right down here to the bottom of our driveway. But last year and now this year, I took all the snow and I made this pile down at the end. And what we can do is we can usually stand right up here and take a sled or a tube or a board, and we can slide right down. I put the cone out in front just in case we have the plow truck come again. I don't really want him to run into this big block of snow. And two things: do any damage to his truck, or undo any of the work that I did with that. As you can see, it'll hold a dog, Gus, but we still need to get up there and pack it down to actually have a decent pathway to take a sled or a tube down. So I'm sure that'll come in the next few days, maybe next weekend. We'll see. 30 hours of snow here that we've had, and the official unofficial measurement is it's 2.5 cans here on this little wall that I was measuring from. 2.5 cans. That's in the neighborhood of 13-14 inches at the end of the day. But like I said in a previous video and the other views that you saw, there was plenty of snow that came down. I swept it off the porch. It's that light and fluffy. But all in all, it was a pretty good storm.